Do you want to just introduce yourself?
I'm al-Qazzaz. I'm the spokeswoman for the Muslim Brotherhood in the UK.
Lovely, thank you. And what do you think about the reaction from the international community, particularly the United Kingdom, to yesterday's events?
The international community has witnessed one of the worst state-led massacres in modern history. Hundreds and thousands of people were killed. Hundreds and thousands of people were killed in Egypt yesterday. And the only response we've been given was very, very mild. We think that this silence of the international community against this massacre has given the actually legitimacy for the killing that has happened yesterday. The massacre, there are several massacres happened one after the other in Egypt after the military coup, and the international community failed to condemn clearly what has happened and the results of a military coup in Egypt.
And what would you like to see from both the British and the US governments? What would you like them to do?
I would like to ask the Western governments, the US and the UK, to clearly condemn the massacre that's happened in Egypt, to clearly condemn the military coup in Egypt, to stop its relationship with the illegitimate military junta in Egypt and its civilian facade. We want them to stop we want the United States in particular to stop the $1.3 billion aid to the Egyptian military that has been using only its weapons against its Egyptian people. We don't want any support to this military junta anymore. We want a clear position. Until now, we've been seeing unclear positions from the Western world, which is not enough. The Western world should uphold its democratic principles and should respect the human rights and should condemn the violations of human rights in Egypt.
You talk about condemning the violence and indeed in the instance of the United States, them actually coming out and declaring what happened was a coup. But will this condemnation actually have an effect? What difference do you think that will make for the people of Egypt?
As an Egyptian citizen first, I do not see that the military coup in Egypt is representing me. The Western world has supported the dictatorship in Egypt in Mubarak's time for decades. And then when it came to a real democratic transition in Egypt, the international community failed to support the democratic transition in Egypt. And then now they have unclear position about the military coup. Having a clear position against the military coup in Egypt would stop this violation of human rights, would, how do I say, the condemnation of the military coup is a first step towards the ending of this violation of human rights, towards the ending of this illegitimate rule of Egypt. We need to stop this government from ruling the Egyptians against their will. We need to stop this government from ruling the Egyptians using the power of the bullets and the tanks. We need to go back to the democratic process. As the Muslim Brotherhood, we don't mind to be in power or in opposition. Both play important roles in the democratic process. But the losers in the democratic process came as leaders now on the back of the tanks, which should not be supported by the Western governments.
You talk about the ending of this crisis. Where will it end? How far can you go? You talk about peaceful, non-violent protest, but how are the Muslim Brotherhood prepared to go, and for how long to achieve that goal?
What's happening in Egypt now is not about the Muslim Brotherhood anymore. It's about our dream of a democratic Egypt. I am here today as an Egyptian first before anything else, and I've seen a military junta jumping into power and taking the power of the authority in Egypt using the power of bullets and tanks. And I will resist it as an Egyptian first with every peaceful mean I have. You don't ask a victim not to be killed, you ask a murderer to stop the murder. We want to hold them responsible. We want to stop the violations of human rights, and we want to put those criminals to justice, to international justice.
And in terms of regional neighbours like Turkey, for example, how can they help? What do you think they can do to try and persuade the international community to take notice of what's happening in Egypt?
Turkey is an interesting example of military coups happening one after the other, and they know how detrimental military coups are to a nation. and they have supported us as democratic Egypt, and they know how detrimental a military coup can be for Egypt. The support we're getting from the Turks is the support we expect from the international community, the support we expect for a democratic process in Egypt. And the condemnation we're getting against the violations of human rights is the condemnation that should happen straight after. We've seen a massacre that was orchestrated yesterday for over 12 hours, and the international community did not step in to stop what is happening in Egypt and left people to be killed.
Thank you very much.